Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Daily Crypto News. But before we get into today's news, make sure that you head over to my second channel called Dusty Finance, because today I prepared two amazing videos that are going to be posted on there. They're, of course, about finance, personal finance, but I really recommend you guys to check it out. It will have no ads, and trust me, I think you guys will want to watch it. So head over there, subscribe to it, and let's get on with today's video. Now, the question of today is, have you ever thought about quitting crypto altogether? Yes or no? Let me know in the comment section down below, and please press the like button and subscribe to the channel to support me, put a smile on my face, help with the YouTube algorithm, and just to be a nice person. Now, first of all, XRP takes the top spot in the current emerging trends. The last couple of weeks have been a case of ebb and flow for XRP. After the flagship token of Ripple lost its plot as the third largest asset, which, by the way, didn't strike as much controversy as I would have expected. The reason I actually had my expectations quite low in terms of like discussions and a big point was because to us all, it doesn't really matter what position XRP is at right now. It's a longer term game, right? So if there are fourth, fifth, sixth, it's going to be bad for the short-term holders, people who are, hyping it up, want some quick returns. But for all the people that are here for the longer run, for the, progress of the project, I don't think it matters too much. It goes with any other of my investment in coins. I don't really care at what point they are at. For example, Cardano might be in the 40th spot right now, but still Shelly and what they're doing right now is a big achievement. But yes, they did get under fire a little bit for it. I mean, it did happen. The asset continued to ponder under its long-term resistance at 21 cents, and recently a reputed analyst in the space noted its performance with respect to Bitcoin and Ethereum. However, times are fickle at the moment, and according to Sentiment's insight, XP holders may have something to look forward to in the near future. And according to the analysis platform, XRP is currently rising as an emerging trend as the asset has seen a massive social and volume spike over the past week. The above data can also be verified from Lunar Crush's dataset, as it appeared that the average sentiment score received by XRP had risen significantly over the past few days. So to me, that's actually quite interesting to see as well. I expect them to always do good, and thus this is not something crazy. However, that they're excelling in this regard, right? If we're talking about the social presence of XRP, I know it will most of the time win or become second to Bitcoin, but to, maybe pop off even more than usual, I don't really know why it would be right now, which is kind of bothersome. Social volume is usually triggered in the market when the price undergoes massive swings, but that hasn't been the case for XRP lately. It can be speculated that the developments facilitated by Ripple may have helped network adoption, and as a result, XRP's social volume has improved, as Ripple has been working towards boosting its worldwide presence, and as previously reported, the organization is looking forward to dabbling in the lending industry. There were speculations that Ripple was considering the use of XRP for loans, even though nothing is set in stone. For the time being, this potential use case for XRP could be used to create market asymmetry. Additionally, last week's Ripple ODL in Australia also recorded a new all-time high, which it does every so often, so that's not special either. And now the question is XRP primed for an upcoming decoupling from Bitcoin? Sentiment's insight had indicated in the same thread that indicators such as social volume and market sentiment may allow XRP to conduct a decoupling from Bitcoin in the current market scenario. And here's where I want to take a step back. I personally don't think this is true. However much I want it to be, I don't think it is, all right? When we're talking about decoupling, there's quite a lot of factors that come into play. And one of them is being completely independent of the other coins, in terms of, I would say, everything. And for that to be the case, XRP to Bitcoin should be way, way, way lower, all right? Should be way, way, way lower. And most likely also, Bitcoin should have a little bit less of a presence in the general space. Right now, we're at 65% for Bitcoin. That means that Bitcoin is basically the market, kind of stating like, I don't want to compare it to traditional markets, but I wanted to say if Bitcoin moves, the whole market moves. Why? Because, well, if 65% of the assets move, you can basically tell by yourself already that means that the whole market is moving down somewhere. Like, for example, take S&P 500, and we're kind of taking out inversely correlated stocks in that sense. If the whole S&P 500, at least 65% of those companies in there, were to take a big plummet of 10%, you bet your ass the S&P 500 is going to be hit with about 8% at least. Because if 65 of them fall, at least, just on its own, then most likely, because there's not a real inverse correlation going on, most of them will fall as well. Because, everything's falling down. People lose their confidence and whatnot. Same will go for Bitcoin. And one of the things I see very much so here still as well is that right at this point, if Bitcoin were to fall, people would lose their faith in crypto altogether. And it doesn't matter how good the investment in XRP is, it doesn't matter what their plans are, people are going to get too frightened to hold on. And I know, guys, you and I, we have faith from here till infinity, but it's about the bigger investors here. We're talking about billionaires. We're talking about people who manage billions of dollars. If Bitcoin falls significantly, they will become scared. And trust me on that one, that will not change in such a short term, right? There's a couple of scenarios in which it can change. And one of those would be if the price goes up by a ton. Second of all would be when Bitcoin dominance is down to, let's say, about 30% like we saw in the bull run before. I would say at 30% that Bitcoin is not relevant enough to do this anymore. But at 65%, it is. you can't really omit it at all. And there's actually a couple of other ways, but for right now, I would say that XRP is still very much, what is the word again for it? Coupled to Bitcoin. There's no stopping it. Social presence ain't gonna do nothing. It's really here about the bigger boys, and they don't care too much about this type of stuff, I would say. So, saying that is bad. However, there could be a shift in correlation. All right, so decoupling would most likely be there's like a correlation of 0, right? Or at least there would be no relationship together here. And how that happens is what I just explained. There's multiple ways that could go. And it could be that because of some new things or in some newer ways, the correlation has been going down. Let's read into that a little bit. However, it may not be that straightforward. Coinmetrics' correlation index between XRP and Bitcoin has rarely changed since April 10, 2020, and at the time of writing this article, the correlation index was 0.82, meaning Bitcoin goes up by 1, XRP goes up on average by 0.82. That's just a small example. It's to just give you guys an indication of what is going on here. Could also be, 82% on the upside, if you guys get me, from Bitcoin instead of the lower side. It means like XRP's moves can for 82% be explained by Bitcoin or the other way around. You guys get me, hopefully. It's just the correlation between these two things is 82%. I don't know how to make it any easier. It's just too too simple. I don't know. For XRP to break away from Bitcoin, it would need to facilitate a steady price bump and not undergo strong corrections when the digital asset makes its move. Ethereum has managed well since the start of May, outperforming Bitcoin at certain intervals, and now it's important to note that XP and Ether functionality and general utilization are drastically different, hence it's more difficult for XRP to break away. Hence, it will be interesting to observe XRP's movement over the next few weeks to witness whether the social volumes fizzles or whether the asset is able to take advantage. And by the way, if you're watching this far, please guys, support the channel by pressing the like button. It helps me out a ton, and also don't forget to subscribe for more daily crypto content. So to kind of conclude here what we just read, this lower part here, there's a big distinction to make as well between Ethereum, Bitcoin, and XRP. They're all three drastically different in what they do, but there's a bigger difference between Bitcoin and Ethereum, I would say. So for Bitcoin and Ethereum, it's just Bitcoin can be used as a store of value or a means of payment, and Ethereum is really just platform, period, right? And XRP, a lot of people use it as a store of value, as a means of payment, or that's basically it, right? People use it for those two things, which still kind of coincides with that of Bitcoin, which is also why the correlation will most definitely always be higher than that of Ethereum's. But even though XRP is excelling in, for example, the payment realm, and most likely does the job from that regard a lot better, and it might be more decentralized, yada, 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 it still has a lot to do with Bitcoin in that sense. They're still kind of interchangeable. If you want to send some money, you can still, a lot of people still use Bitcoin. A lot of people use XRP. XRP is cheaper, but Bitcoin is more convenient for some. And Ethereum, I don't know, but people just, I think of Ethereum just as a standalone entity for being a platform. But yeah, that's just my thoughts on that all. Guys, I'm going to actually leave it off here. That was the episode for today, just a small XRP part. We'll post another video just really shortly here talking about some other coins, but I want to kind of separate these whenever I can to make sure that you guys only get what you want to see in the video. And if you don't want to see it, you just press away, right? And that's why these articles I'll be covering in the next video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. See you guys again in another crypto video. Take care, everybody. Have a very, very nice day.